Good morning on this frosty morning, frosty but sunny. This morning I went out on the porch and it said 11 above zero. It was cold outside, but it's warming up. Might probably that cold air, maybe not quite. But anyway, we're just about finished with syntax. This day, in a way, we'll finish the teaching of it. 93rd day of the entire class, my first video. Well, we have gone through, I told you that there were 7 processes involved in syntax that I can sort out. Predication, coordination, modification. We've done each one of these. Complementation, apposition, subordination. That's what we just did. Of course, coordination can make these sentences look very, very complicated if you start making sentence parts compound. But I abandoned that for the sake of clarity. My role has not been to show you just how complicated a sentence can be. Maybe I will show you that in the next video. Yeah, maybe I will. Anyway, ellipsis is what we're left with, ellipsis. And what this is, here's a definition. This would go in your notes if you're taking notes, which in the entire course, that is part of the job. Ellipsis is the omission of sentence parts because they are understood. You don't need to say them. You can just leave them out. But sometimes, in order to analyze the sentence and really establish what is the syntax of this sentence, you have to put them back in. I'm not giving you lots of examples. Here, just 2 examples. Here's a very little one, and I mentioned it yesterday. Yesterday I was teaching adjective clauses. Here's an adjective clause. The book is The Hobbit. Which book? The book I read. Which I read, the book which I read, or the book that I read is The Hobbit. The book which I read is The Hobbit. But you don't actually have to say which or that. You can say the book I read is The Hobbit. But to analyze that, what you do is you put an X for the omitted items. Just like I recommend you do in a command. If I say stop, I say use this. You understand that you are the one who is to stop. I don't like the parentheses being used that way, as some teachers will do with this. Anyway, that's ellipsis. Now, I've got an extremely, just probably the most extensive example of ellipsis I can think of offhand in the English sentence. Somebody once said a sentence something like, if not we, who? If not now, when? Or it might have been, if not us, who? Or if not now, when? I thought about looking up the exact quote and who it was that said it, if it was a famous quote. But let's assume it was if not we. Now it makes a difference actually the way the sentence is constructed. But you could understand that to mean if we do not act, who will act? If we do not act, who will act? Of course, it could be if we don't do it, who will do it? Or if it is not done by us, who is it going to be done by? But I chose to put we there. So, sentence starts right there. If we do not act, who will act? And then, if you consider it one sentence, well, I put a semicolon because there is no coordinating conjunction. And if you want to treat it as 2 sentences, well, that's okay too, but it seems like they go together. So the and is understood, put an X. If we do not act now, when will we act? All of those are understood, so I've got those X's there. Now this sentence could be analyzed some other way as well. But, and I'm not in the business of giving you many examples of any of these things. But there is ellipsis. You have to look out for it. Sometimes that's the only way you can sort the syntax of a sentence out. Okay, one more video down here in the barn, and then I'm going to, well, in the next video I'll tell you what's going to happen next. I do have one thing left about syntax to teach, but I can do it very quickly indeed.